Hey there, Messiah, Texas. It's time for another 5-Minute Friday. We are on Psalm 10 today, so let's dig right in. Psalm 10. Why, Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you pay no attention during times of trouble? The wicked arrogantly chase the oppressed. The oppressed are trapped by the schemes the wicked have dreamed up. Yes, the wicked man boasts because he gets what he wants. The one who robs others curses and rejects the Lord. The wicked man is so arrogant he always thinks, God won't hold me accountable. He doesn't care. He is secure at all times. He has no regard for your commands. He disdains all his enemies. He says to himself, I will never be shaken because I have experienced no calamity. His mouth is full of curses and deceptive, harmful words. His tongue injures and destroys. He waits in ambush near the villages. In hidden places he kills the innocent. His eyes look for some unfortunate victim. He lies in ambush in a hidden place like a lion in a thicket. He lies in ambush waiting to catch the oppressed. He catches the oppressed by pulling in his net. His victims are crushed and beaten down. They are trapped in his sturdy nets. He says to himself, God overlooks it. He does not pay attention. He never notices. Rise up, Lord. O God, strike him down. Do not forget the oppressed. Why does the wicked man reject God? He says to himself, you will not hold me accountable. You have taken notice, for you always see one who inflicts pain and suffering. The unfortunate victim entrusts his cause to you. You deliver the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and evil man. Hold him accountable for his wicked deeds, which he thought you would not discover. The Lord rules forever. The nations are driven out of his land. Lord, you have heard the request of the oppressed. You make them feel secure because you listen to their prayer. You defend the fatherless and oppressed so that mere mortals may no longer terrorize them. Now, this is a pretty heavy psalm. David is clearly comfortable in his relationship with God. And I think that that's what we should gather from this is you shouldn't be scared to bear your emotions, to take it all before the Father and just let him know how you're feeling. He already knows, and so I think a lot of times we like to play these games where we're like, oh, I'm fine, or, oh, I need to just, I'm worried about offending God, or I'm worried about hurting his feelings, but you have to realize that God is God. He's not the person next to you. He's not your family member. You don't have to walk around and tiptoe around how you're feeling because he already knows how you're feeling inside. And so the moment that you get to the point in your relationship where you feel comfortable enough to be like David, to actually go in and say, God, why does it seem like all these bad things happen? All these bad people are able to get away with all these things. Why does it seem like that's fine? Like, why does it seem like everyone who doesn't follow you gets to do all these great things and they get away with all of this stuff and nothing bad ever happens to them? But here I am doing my best to serve you. I'm following the things that you told me to do. So why do they get off the hook? Why am I suffering? And I think that that's the way that a lot of us feel at times. And I think that that acknowledges your humanity. You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to need God. You're allowed to vent to him. You're allowed to be just like David and get in there and say, why does it seem like all these bad things happen? Can you do something about it, please? And I think that that's so important for us to understand because a lot of times we think that we can't question God and that we can't be angry and we can't show all these emotions that we have that he's given us to show how we feel on the inside, to express how we feel. And I think that that's something that we can take away from this because oftentimes we get stuck in the trenches of, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing this. Why? And so it's important to just stop and acknowledge that, yes, I'm human. You are God. And this is what I think should happen. Why isn't it happening? This is what your word tells me is supposed to happen to the bad people. Why isn't it happening to them? Why do they not care about you? Why do they not have the same fear that I have for you? Nevertheless, you are God and I am not. And I think that that's typically what David does, is he's sitting here writing these Psalms and he's expressing all of his emotions and he's getting it out there, but then at the end he comes to the realization nearly every time you are God still. No matter what's happening around me, no matter what is going on and what I'm feeling, and if I feel like I just don't know where to turn and what to do, at the end of the day, you are still God, and I am going to acknowledge that. And I think that that's what we need to continue to do. Continue to acknowledge that He is God and we are not. And that He will work it out in the end. I pray you have a restful Shabbat.